Yo, so we start the main card off with a doozy. Oh my god, this fight, right? It is Danny Silva against Kevin Vahalas. It's a featherweight clash, and yeah, boy, both fighters are on a tear right now. You know what I mean? So, yes, let's take a look. El Chino, Kevin Valajas. I know I have just butchered that name, so apologies, Kevin. He is 23, 5'7", 68-inch reach. He's got a 15-1 record overall, and he is on a 4-fight tear. Woo! Boy, right? He came via the Contender Series, right? Was on there twice, lost one, won one, and he won his UFC debut. Yes, he did, right? Whew, it was a good one. First round knockout against Su Wong Choi. That was in March this year. All right, on the Contender Series, he also got a first round stoppage against Cam Teague in September 2024. All right, so man, yeah, he's got a lot of stoppages, right? Outside, he fought John Silver, right? That was the first time he was on the Contender Series. And, you know, Silver's been murking everyone. So the fact he went a decision is pretty fucking impressive. You know what I mean? But yeah, he's got a lot of finishes, right? He's got some subs, you know, rear naked. Yeah, rear naked. That seems to be his submission of choice. But look, he's legit, right? This is legit, and so is his opponent. You know, Danny El Puma Silva, who is 28, 5'11", 70-inch reach. You know, man, right? Both are young, and oh man, this is gonna be fun, right? This is gonna be fun. He's a 10-1 overall. He's also on a 4-fight win streak, right? That's how well these motherfuckers match up, right? I think he trains out of Bisbin and oh my god, fought in the WEC. Mine's gone blank, right? But they own the UFC gym in Costa Mesa. Cub Swanson, that's it. Yeah, I think he trains out of there. Not his main gym, but he does train there. So, interesting. I mean, just an aside, people. It's just an aside, right? He also came via the Contender Series. He's 2-0 in the UFC. We saw him in March, right? This year, he got a split decision win over Lucas Almeida. And he also got a split over Josh Kulabau in March 2024. That one, he did miss weight, right? He did miss weight for that fight. So, you know, that's always a bit of an issue. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's got a few stoppages, right? So his last 3 wins all went the distance, but got a stoppage in an LFA fight in June 2023. Yeah, earlier on in his career, right? His first 4 pro fights, he did stop everyone, you know. So, you know, he's got that. But as I said, as the competition gets better, you know, but it allows you to develop your game. So, you know, it's not a problem. And if you've got the power, it's still there, you know, just looking for the right time to uncork. But as I say, this is a doozy of a fight, right? I think I'm going with El Chino, but man, it's gonna be fun, right? It's gonna be fun. So next we got the welterweights, right? It's Neil Magny against Alesi Zaleski dos Santos. Yeah, so Capoeira, right? Alesi Zaleski. He's 38, 5'11", 73-inch reach. He's got a record of 25, 9, and 1. Coming off a loss in his last fight, right? He's 11, 5, and 1 in the UFC. So last time out, whew, it was that war with Chidi Njokuani, right? He got caught in the second round, knees and elbows. Boy, that was March this year. You know, but before that, he got a first round stoppage over Zach Scroggins in November 2024. You know, it has been a little bit up and down for him, right? We've seen him do very well. We've seen him lose, right? It can be hit and miss. When he's on, he is fire, right? And I think one of his biggest, he got a win over Sean Strickland back in 2018, right? Which is very impressive. I mean, that was when I think Sean had just come back from the motorbike accident, but it's still a good win, right? His win over Benoit Saint-Denis was, woof, he battered Benoit Saint-Denis. I think that was Benoit's debut, right? But then we've seen what Saint-Denis has grown into, so, you know. But he's fought some good people for sure. Right? And on Saturday night, he's going up against the Haitian sensation, Neil Magny, right? Now, Magny's 37, 6'3", 80-inch reach, right? A record of 29 and 13. He's got a record of 22 and 12 in the UFC. Coming off a couple of losses, but, right? It was Michael Morales and Carlos Pratas. So, two beasts, two young, hungry beasts as well. So it's kind of like, you know, it's a tough one for Neil, right? But, look, he beat Mike Malott. You know what I mean? So, hey, he can beat the young dudes. Sometimes it just catches up to you, right? Sometimes it does. You know, but he's fought some really good fucking opposition. Got a win over Daniel Rodriguez, right? He beat Max Griffin, Jeff Neal, right? Got a win over Robbie Lawler back in the day. You know? Good wins. He did lose to Shavkat Rakhmonov, Gilbert Burns, right? Ian Machado Gary. But, I mean, look at those names, right? Look at those names. They are no scrubs. Neil Magny has still got what it takes. He's still got what it takes, right? Neil Magny is legit. And I'm taking Neil Magny for the win. I don't think, Magny's done. So, yeah, I think he's going to get the win Saturday night. So, next we got our second and last women's fight of the night. It is the bantamweight Carol Rosa against Nora Cornell. Alright, so Wonder Nora Cornell. She is 35, 5'7", 67-inch reach. She's got a 9-2 record. She's coming off a win in her last fight, right? So she's 3-1 in the UFC. And last time out, she beat Haley Cohen. Got her rear naked in the second round. That was April this year. Right, and she did lose to Jacqueline Calacante, right? But before that, she beat Melissa Mullins, second round stoppage. Her UFC debut was a win over Jocelyn Edwards. That was September 2023. Now, the big caveat, right? The big caveat for Cornell is 2 of her 3 wins, she did miss weight. Right? So she definitely needs to work that out, because that is a problem. Right? That's a problem. You can't keep on missing weight. It isn't fair. It's not professional. You know what I mean? She's definitely got skills. Right? She's got a lot of finishes. She's got some subs. Right? But she is fighting Carol Rosa, who is 30, 5'5", 67.5-inch reach. Got a record of 18-7. She's, 7-4 in the UFC. Coming off a loss, right? That was to Eileen Perez, who I think might be in contention for a title fight. I think, if I remember correctly, I might be wrong, people. I might be wrong. So that was in January this year, right? Before that, she beat Pani Kinzad in August 2024. She did lose to Irene Aldana. Oh, that was a freaking war. Jeez, that was a war, right? I think that one fight of the night, right? That was December 2023. She hasn't quite reached the heights that we thought she might get to, but she has lost to good opposition, right? She lost to Norma Dumont. Actually, I think Norma Dumont. I think it's just a Perez Dumont. Both are circling that title fight. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, she's fought all of these people, all very tough, right? All very tough. But then she's got, some, she's, as I say, she's got good wins. It's just, as I said, she hasn't quite got to where we thought her potential lies. But, she can turn that around, right? She's only 30. So she hasn't even hit a prime yet, technically. Still got a good few years left, right? So, it's an interesting fight, right? It kind of depends on, kind of like if she makes weight or not. There is that, But I think with her experience, Rosa should take this. She's fought the better competition, you know? I think Rosa should get the win, but boy, who knows, right? Anything can happen, people. Anything can happen. So our featured bout, it's the lightweights, right? We have Elvis Brenner against Esteban Ribovic. Oh, this is a good one, right? This is a very good one. Both coming off losses, so yeah, it's a lot to play for. Right, so Elvis Brenner, he's 27, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 16-5 overall. 16-5 overall, people. He's 3-2 in the UFC. He is coming off a couple of losses. So we last saw him August 2024. Right, lost to Joe Alvarez, third round stoppage. Before that, he lost to Metabek Orabai. That was May 2024. His last win was a first round knockout of Kanan Kreshweshki. That was November 2023. Right, and he did start his UFC tenure with 3 wins, right? Split decision debut and then those 2 finishes, right? So yeah, he's got a few subs, right? Does like an armbar and a rear naked choke, right? So he does know his way on the ground. Does like to stand and bang though. Does like to stand and bang. He is going up against El Gringo Esteban Ribovic, who is 29, 5'10", 69-inch reach. He is 14-2 overall. All right. He's 3-2 in the UFC. Came via the Contender Series. So we last saw him March this year. Lost a split decision to Nasrat Haqparast. I think a lot of people thought Ribovic won that fight. It was close. But he is, just remembered for his, notcher USC war with Daniel Zellhuber, which was, that was a great fight, right? September 2024. The head kick of Terence McKinney is just a highlight reel that you just see all the time. And boy, it's still just, woo, bam. You know what I mean? He, beat Kamala Kirk in his UFC he lost his debut. Kamala Kirk was his first UFC win. Right? He's got a lot of finishes. Does like a Kimura. Has a few submission wins with that one. I mean, this is a fun friggin' fight, right? As I featured bout, this is a doozy, right? Brenner, he's on a 2-fight skid, but he's never in a boring fight, right? Never in a boring fight. I think, I think I'm going Ribovic. Yeah. I think I'm going El Gringo for the win. But as I say, this is a great fight to lead us into our co-main event, right? Looking forward to it, people. Looking forward to this one for sure.